The shackles of protection. The observation deck of Earth's orbital station Artemis offered the most breathtaking view of humanity's homeworld. Commander Maya Chen often found herself standing here during off hours, gazing at the blue marble below while contemplating the invisible chains that bound it. 50 years had passed since first contact. 50 years of being the galaxy's pet project. Beautiful, isn't it? The voice belonged to Dr. Elijah Okafor, Earth's leading xenobiologist and Maya's closest confidant. Hard to believe there was a time we thought we were alone in the universe. Maya didn't turn. Sometimes I wonder if we were better off that way. The Galactic Conclave had arrived with promises of advancement, protection, and brotherhood among the stars. What they'd delivered instead was a carefully managed system of technological drip-feeding and patronizing oversight. Earth had become their perfect laboratory specimen. Observed, studied, but never fully embraced. The Magister is requesting your presence at the quarterly review, Elijah said, handing her a datapad. Apparently our mining operations on Ganymede have exceeded our allocation by 3%. Maya's jaw tightened. 3%. The horror. They're also denying our request to establish a research outpost in the Kuiper Belt. Again. Of course they are. Maya finally turned from the viewport. At 42, her face bore the weathered determination of someone who had spent decades pushing against immovable barriers. The silver streaks in her black hair had appeared 10 years too early, a testament to the stress of her position as Earth's military liaison to the Conclave. Let me guess, we're not ready for deep space exploration. Something about developmental benchmarks and species maturity indices, Elijah said with a wry smile. The standard excuses. Maya handed back the datapad. I'll attend. Someone has to smile and nod while they explain why humanity isn't responsible enough to explore our own solar system. The conclave station hung above Earth like a gleaming metallic lotus, each petal housing representatives from different galactic species. At the center sat the 7 Magisters, the ruling council that dictated the fate of all developing species like humanity. Maya's shuttle docked in the human section, noticeably smaller than those allocated to older member species. As she made her way to the council chamber, she passed a group of Tellarites, their scale-covered bodies shimmering under the station's lights. They fell silent as she approached, mandibles clicking in what she learned was their equivalent of a condescending smirk. The council chamber itself was a massive dome with viewing platforms arranged in concentric circles. Humanity's platform was on the outer ring, furthest from the central decision-making table, a reminder of their place. Commander Chen, Magister Zell Voren acknowledged as she took her seat. The Arcturian's 7 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture Maya had never quite gotten used to. We trust you've reviewed our response to Earth's recent petitions. I have, Magister. Maya kept her voice neutral. Earth's Council has asked me to express their disappointment regarding the Kuiper Belt decision. Magister Kelthos, a meridian with an exoskeleton that seemed to shift colors with his mood, flashed a deep blue. Disappointment is unwarranted. Your species has only been spacefaring for a mere century. The Kuiper Belt represents resources and potential that must be managed appropriately. Resources within our own solar system, Maya pointed out. Within the Conclave's jurisdiction, corrected Magister Lear, her tentacles rippling. All developing systems fall under Conclave protection until species maturity is demonstrated. The same arguments, the same dismissals. For 50 years, Earth had been trying to earn its place as an equal. For 50 years, the goalposts kept moving. Perhaps, Maya suggested carefully, if the Conclave shared its criteria for species maturity more explicitly, we could work toward meeting those benchmarks more efficiently. A ripple of what might have been amusement passed through the chamber. The developmental path cannot be rushed, Commander, Zell Voren said with what seemed like practiced patience. Your species is still prone to conflict, still learning to harness its resources sustainably. The Conclave's guidance is for your protection. Protection. Always protection, never partnership. The meeting continued with discussions of resource allocations, technological transfer schedules, and behavioral assessments of human colonies on Mars and the Moon. Maya provided the required updates and received the expected restrictions and allowances in return. When she finally returned to her shuttle, her knuckles were white from clenching her fists beneath the table. Dr. Okafor was waiting for her when she returned to Artemis Station. One look at her face told him everything. Same as always. Worse, Maya said, striding down the corridor toward her office. They're reducing our antimatter allocation by 15% next quarter, claiming our utilization efficiency doesn't justify current levels. Elijah followed, keeping pace. That will set the Jupiter research station back by years. Precisely. Maya entered her office and activated the privacy field, one of the few technologies Earth had managed to reverse engineer without conclave knowledge. But I've had an interesting insight today. Elijah raised an eyebrow. Do tell. I watched the Magisters today. Really watched them. They're not concerned about our development or our protection. They're afraid. Afraid. Of humans. Elijah looked skeptical. We're centuries behind their technology. Are we? Maya pulled up a secure file on her terminal. This is a comparative analysis I've been working on. The technology they shared with us versus what we've observed them using. Elijah leaned forward, studying the data. His eyes widened. These discrepancies are massive. Maya finished. They're not giving us their current tech. They're giving us outdated versions. Centuries outdated, by my estimation. But why? Maya smiled grimly. Because we learned too quickly. Look at this curve. She pulled up another chart. This shows how long it took various species to advance from combustion engines to basic space travel. The Arcturians, 300 years. The Meridians, 420. Humans, less than 70. A dawning realization spread across Elijah's face. They're throttling us. Like an engine that might overheat, Maya nodded. And I think it's time we stopped letting them dictate our pace. That conversation marked the beginning of the Earthbound Initiative, a covert program operating beneath the Conclave's watchful eyes. Maya recruited a small team. Elijah for his scientific genius, Admiral Hakimi for his strategic mind, Dr. Amara Osoi for her engineering brilliance, and a network of others who shared their vision of a truly independent humanity. They worked in shadows, using facilities hidden in asteroid mines and beneath the surfaces of moons the Conclave deemed unimportant. They repurposed allocated resources, created cover projects to mask their true activities, and slowly built a technological base independent of Conclave oversight. 3 years into the initiative, Dr. Osei made the breakthrough that would change everything. It's not supposed to be possible, she explained, her eyes bright with excitement as she displayed the quantum matrix to the core team. The Conclave's FTL technology relies on bending space-time through massive energy expenditure. But I've found another approach entirely. Explain, Admiral Hakimi requested, studying the complex equations floating in the holographic display. Instead of forcing space to bend, we can slit between its fabric, through the quantum foam that exists at the subatomic level. Her fingers manipulated the display, showing a simulation. It requires precision rather than brute force. The energy requirements are a fraction of conclave drive systems. Maya stared at the simulation, watching as the test particle disappeared from one point and reappeared at another without traversing the space between. And the Conclave doesn't have this technology. I don't believe they do, Amara said. Their entire approach to physics seems to ignore this possibility. It's as if they have a blind spot, a conceptual limitation based on their species' thought patterns. Human ingenuity, Elijah murmured. Our greatest asset. Maya felt a weight lifting from her shoulders, a burden she'd carried for decades. How soon until we can build a prototype? Amara's smile widened. That's the best part. We already have most of the components, disguised as parts for approved projects. 6 months, and we'll have our first quantum slip drive. And the conclave won't see it coming, Maya added, allowing herself to hope for the first time in years, because they don't even know to look for it. As the team dispersed to begin work on this new phase, Maya returned to the observation deck. Earth hung below, still beautiful, still bound, but not for much longer. The shackles of protection were about to be broken. The reckoning of stars. The quantum slip drive test vessel Prometheus hung in the darkness of Neptune's shadow, invisible to conclave monitoring stations. At just 30 meters in length, the cylindrical craft was tiny compared to the behemoths of the conclave fleet, but it represented something far greater. Humanity's first truly independent step into the stars. Commander Maya Chen floated in the ship's compact bridge, watching as the final preparations were completed. This moment had been 8 years in the making. 8 years of secrecy, misdirection, and painstaking work hidden from the prying eyes of their protectors. All systems are nominal, reported Captain Rice, the pilot chosen for this historic journey. Quantum matrix is stable at 99.8%. Dr. Amara Osi nodded with satisfaction. Better than our simulations predicted. We're ready, Commander. Maya took a deep breath. So much rested on this single test. If successful, humanity would have something the conclave didn't, a method of interstellar travel they couldn't detect or track. Commence final countdown, she ordered. And remember, absolute emissions control. We can't afford to be noticed. The bridge crew worked in near silence, communicating through neural interfaces rather than spoken words. Another innovation developed under the conclave's nose, using their own medical technology repurposed in ways they never imagined. T-10 seconds, Rise announced through the shared neural link. Quantum slip coordinates locked on Alpha Centauri Lagrange points 03. Maya felt her heart racing. Alpha Centauri, the closest star system to Earth. A journey that would take a conclave vessel weeks would, if their calculations were correct, take Prometheus mere minutes. Initiating slip in 3, 2, 1. There was no dramatic flash, no surge of energy. Just a subtle ripple across the view screen as space itself seemed to hiccup. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the starfield shifted, and a new planet appeared on their screens. Position confirmed, Rise reported, voice steady despite the historic moment. We've arrived at Alpha Centauri. Transit time, 11 minutes, 43 seconds. The bridge erupted in silent celebration, emotions flowing through their neural link. Triumph, elation, vindication. Begin survey protocols, Maya ordered once the initial excitement had subsided. Full spectral analysis of the system. We have 30 minutes before we need to return. As Prometheus gathered data on humanity's stellar neighbor, Maya allowed herself a moment of pure satisfaction. The conclave had underestimated humans from the beginning. They'd never understood that restriction would only fuel innovation, that telling humans something was impossible only made them more determined to prove otherwise. The return journey was as flawless as the outward one. As Prometheus slipped back into Neptune's shadow, Maya knew they had crossed a threshold from which there was no return. Within months, the Earthbound initiative had constructed 3 more quantum slip vessels, each larger and more advanced than the last. Under the cover of resource surveys, approved by the conclave, these ships mapped a dozen nearby star systems, cataloging resources and identifying potential colony locations. 18 months after the first test, the colony ship New Horizon departed Earth orbit in full view of conclave monitors. Its official destination, a new research outpost on Titan. Its actual destination, a habitable moon orbiting Tav Ceti E, 22 light-years from Earth. 500 colonists, Earth's brightest minds, slipped away from conclave oversight, the first of many. Over the next 3 years, humanity established 7 extrasolar colonies, all while maintaining the facade of a dutiful, if somewhat restless, protected species. The deception couldn't last forever. Magister Zelvorin was reviewing humanity's quarterly resource allocations when a pattern caught his attention. Earth's consumption of certain rare elements had decreased by 17% over the past 2 years, yet their technological output had increased. Efficiency improvements couldn't account for such a discrepancy. Analyst Trevmore, he called to his aide, run a deep scan on Earth's lunar facilities. Focus on quantum signatures and non-standard energy patterns. The results came back within hours, and they were troubling. Faint traces of unknown technology, carefully masked but detectable to the Conclave's most sensitive instruments. Assemble the magistrate, Zelvorin ordered, and prepare my vessel for immediate departure to the Sol system. The emergency session of the Conclave magistrate was tense, the atmosphere charged with concern and disbelief. Impossible, Magister Lear insisted, tentacles writhing in agitation. The humans are centuries from developing quantum-based technologies. Our developmental models are precise. The evidence suggests otherwise, Zelvorin countered. They've been concealing their true capabilities, possibly for years. To what end? Kelthos demanded, his exoskeleton flashing danger red. Unknown. But I've authorized a comprehensive inspection of all human facilities. If they've breached containment protocols, we must act swiftly. The Conclave inspection fleet arrived without warning. 50 vessels surrounding Earth in a show of overwhelming force. Maya Chen was summoned to the Artemis Station Command Center as the Conclave ships took position. They know something, Admiral Hakimi said, studying the tactical display. But how much? It doesn't matter, Maya replied. We've prepared for this day. The quantum communication array, another technology developed in secret, allowed instantaneous contact with Earth's hidden colonies. A single message was transmitted, Protocol Horizon activated. When Magister Zelvorin's vessel docked at Artemis Station, he found Commander Chen waiting, her expression unreadable. This is an unscheduled inspection, Maya observed as the Magister and his security detail approached. The Conclave typically provides notice as a courtesy. Courtesy is reserved for those who abide by Conclave regulations, Zelvorin replied coldly. We have detected unauthorized technological development. You will provide immediate access to all Earth facilities. Maya's smile was thin. Of course, Earth has nothing to hide. The lie came easily after years of practice. For 3 days, Conclave inspectors combed through Earth's stations, bases, and research centers. They found discrepancies, hints of advanced technology, but nothing conclusive, nothing that revealed the full scope of humanity's achievement. On the 4th day, everything changed. Maya was in a tense meeting with Zelvorin when the alert came through. A massive energy surge had been detected at the edge of the solar system, unlike anything in the Conclave database. What is this? Zelvorin demanded, his 7 eyes fixed on Maya. Before she could answer, the view screen activated automatically. The image showed empty space for a moment. Then reality seemed to fold. A vessel emerged, sleek, predatory, and unmistakably human in design. Then another, and another. Within minutes, 30 vessels of various sizes had appeared, arranging themselves in a defensive formation. Impossible, Zelvorin whispered, all pretense of superiority gone. Admiral Hakimi's face appeared on the screen. Magister Zelvorin. Commander Chen. The Earthbound fleet has arrived as requested. Maya allowed herself one moment of satisfaction at the Arcturian's stunned expression before turning to face him fully. Magister, I believe it's time for a renegotiation of Earth's status within the Conclave. The magistrate chamber on the Conclave station had never been so crowded. All 7 magisters were present, along with representatives from every major species. For the first time in 50 years, the human delegation was seated at the central table. This is unprecedented, Magister Lear began, her voice carrying the weight of offended authority. Earth has violated numerous Conclave directives. The penalties for such actions are severe. Are they? Maya replied calmly. The Earthbound Initiative reviewed the Conclave Charter quite thoroughly. Nowhere does it state that a species cannot develop beyond the technology shared with them. You recommended. You advised. You did not forbid. Semantics, Kelthos snapped. The intent was clear. As was ours, Admiral Hakimi interjected. Humanity sought partnership, not patronage. When that was continually denied, we chose our own path. A display activated, showing a map of nearby star systems. Dozens of points illuminated, representing human outposts and colonies spanning nearly 100 light-years. These are the known human extrasolar installations, Maya explained. Established over the past 5 years using our quantum slip technology, a method of FTL travel unknown to the Conclave. The chamber erupted in shocked exclamations and demands for explanation. Silence. Zelvoran commanded, his authority momentarily reasserting itself. When order was restored, he fixed Maya with all 7 eyes. What is it you want, Commander Chen? Recognition, she answered simply. Earth will no longer accept protected species status. We demand full membership in the Conclave, with all rights and responsibilities that entails. Or, Kelthos challenged. Or nothing, Maya said. There is no threat here, Magister, only reality. Humanity has moved beyond your restrictions. We will continue to explore, to colonize, to advance, with or without Conclave approval. You cannot simply ignore Conclave authority, Lear insisted. We're not ignoring it. Admiral Hakimi countered. We're offering to embrace it, as equals. Our technology, our resources, our perspective, all could strengthen the Conclave, or we can walk away entirely. The implication hung in the air. A species with technology the Conclave didn't possess, expanding rapidly, operating outside established protocols. It was every magistrate nightmare scenario rolled into one. You must understand our position, Zelvoran said, his tone shifting to one of cautious diplomacy. No species has ever advanced so quickly. The protocols exist for the stability of galactic civilization. Perhaps, Maya suggested, your protocols need updating. The universe is full of surprises, humanity being just one of them. Adapt, or risk becoming obsolete. The negotiations lasted for weeks. Accusations gave way to bargaining, bargaining to compromise, compromise to a new understanding. In the end, a historic agreement was reached. Earth would become a full member of the Conclave, with all the privileges and responsibilities that entailed. In exchange, humanity would share its quantum slip technology and work with the Conclave to establish new protocols for emerging species, ones that encouraged potential rather than stifling it. As Maya stood on the observation deck of Artemis Station one final time before departing for her new role as Earth's first true representative to the Conclave, she watched her homeworld turning below. Was it worth it? Elijah asked, joining her at the viewport. All the secrecy, the risks. Maya nodded. We proved something important, not just to the Conclave, but to ourselves. Humanity doesn't need protection or guidance to find its place among the stars. We just needed the freedom to be who we are. And who are we? He asked with a smile. Maya turned from Earth to face the stars beyond, the species that walked away, and made the galaxy understand its mistake. Across the void of space, on worlds both known and yet to be discovered, humanity continued to expand, innovate, and redefine what was possible. The shackles of protection had been broken, replaced by the boundless potential of a species finally free to chart its own course through the cosmic ocean. And the galaxy would never be the same again.